Radio Echenglo, restoring everything in Christ with love and truth. Good afternoon with the main news. I'm Kennedy Mbewe Jr. The headlines. Kindly be informed that we're also streaming live on the Radio Echenglo Facebook page to you following us on social media. Here are now the headlines. Encourage women participation in governance issues. Kaloko residents speak on challenges they are facing. Plus, Absa Cup tournament enters the semifinals tomorrow. The details. National Legal Aid Clinic for Women. Legal Officer Emmanuel Sichone says the country has not done much to encourage women participation in governance issues. Mr. Sichone has said his organization would continue to advocate for non-discriminatory laws and policies to encourage women participation in decision-making. Speaking during the recording of the governance program in Ndola, Mr. Sichone said the SADC protocols talks about 50% equal representation, but the country's parliament has only 28 female elected members of parliament out of 150 elected MPs. He said there was need to increase women participation in governance to achieve 50% equal representation as prescribed by the SADC protocol.
Elected, that is away from the 8 nominated. So we're talking about 58. Now, out of those 6, the men who are parliamentarians, they're about 137, which is about 83%. The women are only 28, comprising of 17. In cabinet, we have 10 female cabinet ministers and 22 male ministers, including the president. So the question is, are they participating? They are not. Talk about the issues of when you go to in a political sphere itself, which brings about these parliamentarians. The only place where we see women participating is when they are playing drums and singing.
Mother Angela Trade Center in Chilabombe, owned by the Catholic Church, is in need of assistance in taking care of the vulnerable children. Sister in charge, Gertrude Chanda, said some children are in need of uniforms and books, among other items. Speaking when Chilabombe Acting Mayor Gift Musukwa Vinkumbo visited the area yesterday, Sister Chanda also said the center has continued to offer survival skills like carpentry, agriculture, tailoring to residents at an affordable price. Sister Chanda, however, called on government to consider assisting those who are coming from vulnerable households and are failing to pay the fees.
But 1 year, 6 months. Kunmayali 2 years. Elona kalupia kanono. Nangula abengi balesanga wafya wakulipila. Ichi echalenga benga bambitule bafumya mukukana mukuponena mu misango ishinga dofya ubumi bwabo. Icho kabiri tinatilo ko batipanchende imoyine twalikwatako n'abana ama vulnerable children abasambira pa community school obo twafwirishako. Lomba twalomba kabiri n'abenga ipelesha batwafurisha kona muku balisha ababana mushla iyale kana mushla ya kufako twakulya minani elona.
And Mr. Vinkumbo has held Mother Angela Trade Center for imparting survival skills to the residents, especially women and youths.
Church, Catholic, for putting up this facility and also for the initiative that they have in terms of giving skills to our people. Makamaka kulibana mayo. I think inachua sumafano kumonoko bati banamayo. Now we're busy. Now we're looking at the fees also. How fees are very much affordable. So now tailoring, which is a very good thing because one, people are attaining skills, and after attaining skills, they're able to make their own money. Instead of
Meanwhile, Mpundu Munkanta, who is a teacher of agriculture at the center, called on Zambians to value agriculture as a business. She also highlighted some challenges faced by the institution.
Key thing that we need in agriculture is land. So land in Zambia and land to acquire land for the student who have been trained as the agriculturist or the farmers, they are facing a challenge in terms of acquiring land. So land is very, very difficult to acquire. So it is just an encouragement that the government can look into that so that those people, they can have an access to land. Another thing that the government should look at is to empower the youth, especially those who have been trained as farmers. We need to be empowered by capital. They don't have capital. So you find that people who are just been trained, someone can complete a course now, it doesn't have a capital where to start.
We now go to Ndola, where residents of Kaloko Township have cited youth unemployment and poor public infrastructure as some of the challenges they are facing. Residents interviewed by Radio Channel News in Kaloko said the area lacks good roads, proper drainage, and a modern clinic. They also said that many houses collapsed during the rain season due to poor drainage. They have since called on elected leaders to facilitate infrastructure development and job creation in the area.
Clinic, let's make it very important. Well, for now, we are going to give us a school. Tababomba, Waka, Mikanda, Skanda, Kandavali, Pokastan, what I'm going to stand and what won't be stand and needs to feeling around Bokosua, Mendo, Shabu School, Papo, which may book a 1 hour which Roman government wants it. Like a combo. Local dream for a real tension. I'm not doing it, that what. One, that's why I mean, she and a pang, Yari Karina Panga Famo. So, 3 quarters of Mataira, and Boku. So, Chawama, number 240, put for Katama, keep a good Pagina, number 3 road, the main road, the Akusapa Clinic. Last number 1, put what Panga Shuru of Chicago. You're telling Aroma Coffee is a war. So, no, Mr. Locono, so when an hour on a car.
Kaloko White Councillor Vincent Mulenga is yet to comment on the concerns from the residents. Green Party leader Peter Sinkaba has been reacting to the presentation of bills to Parliament that will allow the production and export of hemp for medicinal purposes. The 3 bills that were presented to Parliament this morning for the first reading are Cannabis Bill, Industrial Hemp Bill 2021, Narcotic and Psychotropic Substances Act, which will be repealed. And the opposition leader says the hemp growing would create linkages for its members, once the bills are assented to into law, and gave an estimation of about $40 billion per annum once implemented. Mr. Sinkamba said this during a media briefing today.
Has finally implemented our manifesto, and going forward, we will definitely work with the government, because all these programs that we are talking about will require collaboration between ourselves and government to make sure that they become real. We are able to implement them, and we make money for the nation, almost $40 billion per year. And then also we provide the necessary support to make Zambia a very, very rich nation.
Moving on to sports, the ABSA Cup tournament will tomorrow enter the semi-finals at Arthur Davis Stadium in Kitwe, with the last 4 teams fighting for a place in the finals slated for next Saturday, April 24, 2021 in Lusaka. Leaders in both the MTN Super League and Eden University National Division 1, Zesco United and Concla Blades will face off in the second semi-finals, while Zanaco and Lusaka Dynamos will lock horns in the early kickoff. Speaking during a press conference at Garden Court Hotel in Kitwe this morning, Zesco coach Numamba said he expects a tough game against Konkola, whom he has acknowledged of performing well in the National League.
We expect to be tough, looking at the opponents that we are playing. Konkola Blades is
a team that is on song. They are doing very well in the Eden University, and that is why they are seated at the top of the league. So we expect a tough game as we go into this game. We have done our preparations in order to make sure that our team is ready for the challenge ahead of us. We only hope we rise to the occasion and get the results that we want at the end of it.
Konkala Blades coach Lewington Mujembe said his team respects Zesco United, but will compete favorably and progress to the finals of the tournament.
Leaders of the Premier League, we are not just here to participate, but we are here to compete. Give Zesco the exact respect they need in this tournament, but we are here to push also. We are here to so that we can just get a good result over Zesco and go to the finals.
After losing in the league match against Zanaco, Lusaka Dynamo's assistant coach Stephen Mwansa is hoping to overturn the results in the Absa Cup.
We played the league game last weekend. We lost, yes. After that, we started planning for this game. Players, it's a matter of having a good character with them, of which we've cycled them for this game, and we are ready. They are ready. Definitely, come tomorrow, you'll be able to see for yourself that the guys are prepared. It's the only cup we have in Zambia, so, and from Lusaka Dynamos, it's their first time probably to go this cup, and we want it most.
And team captain Emmanuel Chabla said the team is ready for the game tomorrow.
Tomorrow, all is set. As you know, football is a game of chances. Whoever wants it most can come out victors. And for us, people prepared. They just have to show character and determination. And as Lusaka Dynamos, we are ready for the match. Come tomorrow, you see for yourself results.
The winners of the tournament will bag 600,000 kwacha. This news broadcast comes to you in the community service of Radio Chingalo with compliments over Moose Milling and Go TV Broadcasting Zambia Limited. In foreign news, as monitored from the BBC, the Mozambican government has banned the import of poultry products from South Africa because of an outbreak of bird flu. As well as live birds, the ban also includes feathers, eggs, and poultry products used in agricultural animal feed. It does not cover processed chicken, which is aware of preserving meat through heat treatment. It is feared the ban will increase the price of poultry products in Mozambique, which heavily relies on South African imports. Hong Kong pro-democracy media tycoon Jimmy Lai has been sentenced to 14 months in prison after being found guilty of unauthorized assembly. Mr. Lai was one of the several activists in court on Friday who were earlier found guilty of charges relating to large pro-democracy demonstrations in 2019. The 73-year-old founder of Apple Daily is a fierce critic of Beijing. And finally, China's economy grew a record 18.3% in the first quarter of 2021 compared to the same quarter last year. It's the biggest jump in gross domestic product, GDP, since China started keeping quarterly records in 1992. However, Friday's figures are below expectations, with a Reuters poll of economists predicting 19% growth. They are also heavily skewed and less indicative of strong growth as they are compared to last year's huge economic contraction. On that note, we end this afternoon's main news of Radio Chingalo. For these and more stories, feel free to visit the Radio Chingalo Facebook page. Before we go, we give you the weather update as compiled by the Zambia Meteorological Department. Luapula, Northern and Mchinga provinces will be mainly cloudy, slightly windy, and warm to hot with a chance of showers. Maximum temperature will vary from 24 degrees to 32 degrees Celsius. The evening will be partly cloudy, slightly windy with a chance of rain. Western, northwestern, southern, Copperbelt, Lusaka, central, and eastern provinces will be partly cloudy, windy at times, and warm to hot. Maximum temperature will vary from 25 to 33 degrees Celsius. The evening will have a few clouds, slightly windy, and warm to mild. On behalf of the entire news team, my name is Mbewe Jr. Thank you so very much for listening. We have the next news broadcast, and that will be the news summary coming up at 16 hours. Thank you so very much for listening and for watching on the Radio Chingolo Facebook page. Have yourself a lovely Friday and, of course, a lovely weekend. Good afternoon.